What's going on, everyone? A happy Thursday, March the 3rd for you guys. Welcome into the StreamYard Studios for another episode of the Jay and Trey podcast. I am Justin, and we will be coming to you for 2 hours here, coming off with some breaking news, but that's going to be coming up here in a moment. I'd like to give a shout out to StreamYard. StreamYard Studios, where you could create your own podcast, YouTube videos, live virtual business meetings, and interviews through StreamYard. Head on over to StreamYard.com and give their free version a try today. Also like to give a shout out to Placeit. Placeit's by Envato. Create all your mock-ups, logos, and videos through Placeit. You see everything that is incorporated into our show is thanks to Placeit. Placeit.net for more information. Last but not least, I'd like to give a shout out to Epidemic Sound. Discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find your perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. It's already too early in the morning for me. Epidemic Sound is a licensed royalty-free music link. Head on over to Epidemic Sound for more information. All right. Got all that stuff out of the way. We got a busy 2-hour episode with you guys today. So let's sit tight, grab that popcorn, grab your drinks, get a comfy spot on the couch. Don't fall asleep. Click play and let's get started with the Jay and Trey podcast. What's going on, everyone? Welcome inside the StreamYard studio for another episode of the Jay and Trey podcast. I am Justin once again. This is March, not 4th, 3rd. Come on, error account. Already. There we go. March 3rd, 2022. And I want to get to some big stuff going on in here. In today's program, 2 hours, taking you guys up to high noon. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, thank you guys. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Also, don't be afraid to leave us a comment down below. Get involved into those conversations. If you guys can't watch us, that is A-okay, because you guys can head on over to Spotify. You guys can head on over to Apple Podcasts. You guys can head on over to Google Podcasts and type in the Jay and Trey podcast or TNC Sports Talk. Be able to take us on the road wherever you guys are at. Don't miss a single episode, either at home or on the road. All right, we have our social media following pages. I'd like to give those out to you guys. You guys can follow us and get updated with all the fun stories and highlights through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, all at TNC Sports Talk. And we also have a merchandise page. If you head on over to TeePublic and you search us up at TNC Sports Talk, Jay and Trey podcast, you guys can find and wear your favorite talk show fan gear today. All right, head on over there now. Right now, well, not right now, not during the show. I mean, right after the show. Maybe right now, not after the show, because Pat McAfee and Vince McMahon is going to have a chat. But you know what I'm saying. As soon as you get free time, head on over there and purchase some fan gear. If you guys have trouble finding us on TeePublic, come DM us on social media. We'll get you to the place that you need to get to. So that's all said and done. All right, let's get this show on the road. We have some great breaking news to kick off the morning, and I want to relate this to another story that happened in the WWE before I break the news. And for people who lived under a rock, who worked last night, didn't get a chance to watch it, well, you know what? Sorry, it's spoiler for you guys. Don't watch this show. This is your time to stop the show, go back and watch AEW, and then come back to us, because you will miss all of it out. All right. I sat there last week, when Edge came out last week, and Edge said that open challenge for WrestleMania. He's like, you listen, and he threw a lot of hints out there of who could it be. And the first thing, as soon as he was done, as soon as the show went off air last Monday night on Raw, everyone, social media, and I'm going to even be reluctant to say Trey and Jake here, said AJ Styles. And as much as I love to say AJ Styles, and as much as I'm going to enjoy this match, because it is a match I'm going to enjoy, and especially everything that's incorporated back on Monday Night Raw this week. Throughout the week, we had to speculate who could have been. Now, what fun of the conversation if three of us sit there and just say AJ Styles to all three of our guesses. So what I did is that I allowed Jake to say AJ Styles. I allowed Trey to say AJ Styles. And I was confident that AJ Styles was going to be the next person. But what I gave you guys were speculations on other possible outcomes. And I'm going to have a couple other ones today that I like to keep on going. So I like to overall think about not just one rumor, because things change all the time. So we came down to last night about Tony Khan making a big announcement. I've heard rumors about, he was going to announce Jeff Hardy going to be returning, another athlete. A lot of people jump to another athlete. But then the breaking news happens that Tony Khan buys Ring of Honor. He kicks off the show and he announces that he now owns Ring of Honor. And this is now the hot topic of our opening segment today. And I would like the chance just to kind of go around the room, listen to everyone's thoughts, and kind of feel where everyone's at with this whole Tony Khan and AEW now incorporating business with the Ring of Honor. I'm going to start with our co-host and the champ, Trey. Trey, good morning to you.
Good morning.
News coming out our way with AEW and Tony Khan purchasing Ring of Honor. And I kind of want to get just like your thoughts alone going through the announcement in the first 5 minutes of the show, and then what happened, and then like your take on it.
Now, honestly, going into this, I literally thought AEW's always getting new talent. So this big announcement, I honestly thought that it was going to be another announcement that he signed, another huge talent such as Jeff Hardy or someone like that. And for him to announce that he bought Ring of Honor, that totally caught me off guard. And that got me thinking, is this going to be a totally separate brand or company like it always has? Or is this going to be something that maybe Tony Khan lets some AEW wrestlers go over there and wrestle? So that's what I'm kind of I'm at.
Well, so let me ask you this. Because a lot of the speculations was, okay, let's bring in another wrestler. Because I heard nothing but that on social media. And, Jeff Hardy, there were social medias that took last week that Jeff Hardy is going to be an AEW, is going to be all elite. So just if you took Jeff Hardy out of the picture, we know the separation of Cody Rhodes right now, and we'll dive into that. We know, who else right now, because Adam Shearer and EC3 is off doing their own promotion in Florida. So who else really is a big name worthy enough for Tony Khan to personally come down to the ring and announce so-and-so is going to be here? Because when Jay Wright came to AEW, he just showed up. When Keith Lee came to AEW, his interest music just played. So there has not been a single wrestler, let me put it that way, that Tony Khan has came down to the ring announcing, hey, this person's returning. Matter of fact, from what I heard yesterday, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I may be more, but Tony Khan has only been on television doing announcements like this twice. Day one, when he opened up the goddamn AEW show, and today, which has been over 126 different episodes.
Wow. And, I've only been, watching it, and this is the first time I've ever seen him on TV.
Yeah.
So, I was surprised to actually, see him live in the ring. I was thinking maybe it could have been like maybe a backstage announcement, but for him to come out, that was pretty cool.
And Tony Khan, we already know this. We know about Tony Khan. He says each and every week he doesn't like to get the spotlight in the ring. He likes to keep that to the wrestlers. He likes to keep that to the athletes. He takes a step back. He jumps over to interviews. He does maybe 100 interviews a week, and definitely famous for his his weekly appearance on Busted Open with Dave LaGreca, right? And he was even on there yesterday, and it's he doesn't, like I said, it's unless it's worthy enough to be on TV, he doesn't want to be on TV. And I just thought, this is it's not just a huge announcement, it's a great announcement. It's just a great announcement. You think about Ring of Honor, why they had to go into hiatus, and you honestly do look at the future and what type of work that Ring of Honor needs to do to maintain their fan base and keep on going on. And I kind of, and this almost, Tony Khan and Ring of Honor almost goes together as peas in the pod. I mean, at least Ring of Honor now has the structure to provide a good show.
Now, do you think it will end up being its own separate company?
Yeah.
Or do you think Tony Khan will let AEW stars over there?
I will say that I will at least believe that the first while it will start off that way at least. And if it doesn't go in the direction that it needs to go in, then maybe some changes will be made. But I think keeping Ring of Honor separate from AEW, even though even though maybe athletes are going to jump back and forth and things could happen, keeping it separate is also essential, because Ring of Honor and its brand alone is significant. It's been around for 20 years. And to see that it's now behind the name AEW, right?
Yeah.
Ring of Honor is not just a show, it's a brand. And to keep that brand alive, don't put AEW in front of it.
Now, don't they have to get a roster because most of them left?
Well, and that's the thing, and we'll bring in Jake here in a second because I know he's getting anxious to talk about this, but that's all part of, okay, well, you think about guys who have not gotten that proper spotlight. We talked about this, right? Guys like Miro, guys that maybe are getting undervalued, like we've been mentioning it up. Well, now this is a platform where maybe now these guys could go work over in Ring of Honor while there is a storyline being weighed upon. And then just like Tony Khan does best, maybe opens up Ring of Honor for outside contracts. I don't know the legal logistics about with the ownership. How much does the original owners still have part of making, contracts, storyline, stuff like that? The only thing that I can be certain of is that Tony Khan owning it provides a structure underneath it so it doesn't fall again. And keeping a show that's, they've been, even though I haven't been able to watch it for, so long because we didn't get that, Ring of Honor out there. It's another thing that to bring Ring of Honor in. I've heard about it all the time. I've heard about Ring of Honor all the time. It's like OVW. You don't watch a lot of OVW, but it's there. It's been around for decades. NWF, it's been around for decades. And now there's just a support, beam underneath, that platform to grow. And so while we're talking about this, I want to bring out the guy who probably follows Ring of Honor more than any of us, and probably, definitely shocking to him to say that he knows, hey, maybe Ring of Honor is probably in good hands. So let me help me welcome in the Fighting Now's host, which you can check Fighting Now on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. The Fighting Now host, Jake. Jake, you have yourself. I hear this, and I know we teased a little bit about this yesterday, but you must feel kind of a sense of relief knowing that Ring of Honor is practically in good hands.
Yeah. So last night I was sitting in my chair, eyes peeled to the TV screen, waiting for something to happen. I was waiting for a clock to hurry up, especially after between here and the Serena interview. I was like, 8 o'clock needs to hurry up. I kept thinking, I'm like, how are they going to do this? I mean, and you talked about this. You talked about this so much. It was like, what is he going to do a backstage segment? No. So pretty much it was like after the intro, here's Tony Khan. After Jim Ross says, and now we listen to a very special announcement. Like, wait, they're starting the show with the announcement.
Why not?
So, and I see Tony Khan. I'm thinking, okay, he's going to bring in another wrestler. That's what my mind was assuming. And next thing you know, he says, but there was also a wrestling company that started 17 years ago, and I've been a fan of that company 17 years ago, and today I am now the owner. I'm now the owner of Ring of Honor, and I literally messaged y'all. I was like, what? And the first thing I thought about was how much Tony Khan could do, because in case you guys don't know their current TV deal, it's been through Sinclair Broadcasting Group Network. Right. And unfortunately, that means is that you can only get a chance to check out Ring of Honor on weekends at like 2 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock at night. And the one thing I'm thinking about is Tony Khan can make a TV deal between TBS or TNT if he wanted to. Not only that, but with the roster. I mean, what a coincidence, right? Joe's Supercard of Honor, his first show as an owner. Imagine what he can do. And of course, the champions. Think about this, though. The current Ring of Honor World Champion, Bandito. The old school Ring of Honor World Champion, Jonathan Gresham. Tag Champions, Briscoes. I'm not going to say more about it. But what I can tell you is I am excited. I know Tony Khan is going to do great things with Ring of Honor because, I'll be honest with you, Ring of Honor has not gotten the credit where credit's due over the last couple of years. Since Nigel McGuinness left. Since everyone left, everyone's wondering how Ring of Honor is going to do this. Well, yet they get through talent, they get through Bandito, they get all these incredible talents, and yet they even made a deal to have some of the New Japan guys. And what was the last thing that we saw on their final show back in Final Battle in December? We saw a couple AEW stars. We see a couple of GCW stars. That means that with this deal, we will be seeing a lot more AEW talent in Ring of Honor. So, and I'm going to cut this short. I know I'm taking too long. But as a fan of Ring of Honor for as long as I have, I am excited. It's going to be incredible. And that means that we're going to get a chance to see that potentially dream match. And I know you know which dream match I'm talking about, Justin. The tag team dream match that I've been waiting for.
This just opens up. And I listen, I want you to be able to share your thoughts and feelings because you followed Ring of Honor as long as I have, longer than I have. I mean, like I said, I know Ring of Honor. I know it from, 2008, 2007. Because that was always on the news. It was always a conversation that popped up every 6 to 8 weeks. But it's just, like you mentioned, the TV deals. There's a whole line of opportunities, not just to finally get Ring of Honor to be shown on television, which is overdue.
Yeah,
but it's also a way, and the first thing that comes to my mind is like, AEW has an overstacked roster. AEW can, doesn't highlight each and every athlete. This opens up that field for some of them to go to Ring of Honor, help build their brand, get it up on TV. But I guess a question I'll have for you, I want to ask you before we cut to break, is the same question that Trey's asked is, and I personally believe Ring of Honor should stay just Ring of Honor. Keep that brand, keep it going like it's. you don't put AEW part of it, besides maybe the talent, right?
Yeah,
But
100%.
do you think Tony Khan would go to would put the AEW logo or a symbol or branding behind the Ring of or in front of the Ring of Honor branding?
Not really, because if you think about it, Ring of Honor has built enough legacy as it is. I mean, we talked about the history with Ring of Honor. I mean, we talked about how he mentioned it between the first main event between Bryan Danielson and Christopher Daniels, the champions. I mean, Jay Lethal, to Jerry Lynn, Nigel McGuinness, Kevin Steen. The list goes on and on with these champions. I don't think Tony Khan, as big of a fan as he says he is, would want to delete all the legacy and history.
Right.
Because if you think about it, there's been a lot of history within Ring of Honor. I mean, half of WWE is filled with Ring of Honor talent. Shoot, even Impact and AEW is, especially AEW side. You look at the Young Bucks, CM Punk, the list goes on and on. So I don't think Tony Khan would want to put an AEW stamp over Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor has already built this history enough to leave it the same way. Have your code of honor, have these matches. I mean, leave it all the same, except with the talent. And I can't stress this enough. Between the talent that we've seen in Dark Elevation and Rampage, this will give these stars a huge platform, especially in Ring of Honor. They can go to who is now owned by Tony Khan, who can trust them to say, hey, this is my chance to be able to build something. You look at guys like Wardlow, who isn't getting enough credit he deserves. You look at guys like Powerhouse Hobbs and so many more. I mean, that deserves it. Lance Archer as well. And so I think that, in my opinion, don't touch Ring of Honor. Just leave it the way it is, except have the talent that you think deserves to be built up more than what they're getting in AEW. That's just my opinion.
Oh yeah, listen, I completely agree with you. I think that's something that is definitely said. And you mentioned some good point, and we're going to cut to break here, and we'll continue talking about this when we come back. But you talked about the code of honor, and we saw a great example kicking off AEW along with Tony Khan's announcement. If you guys just joining us in here, we are breaking down, talking about the announcement that Tony Khan made last night on AEW. How he has officially bought Ring of Honor. What does this do for the program? Stay tuned. We got a big show coming up. We have a little bit of Raw talk. We have a little bit of AEW, more highlights coming your way. Also, we're going to talk a little bit, get you guys ready for Pat McAfee and Vince McMahon. That's also to come right here. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to take a quick time out. You guys are listening to the Jay and Trey podcast on the TNC Sports Talk channel.
I'm somewhere in the middle, try to find myself again. But life is one big riddle of the future and what's been. Guess it's the way it goes, and I will never know why you let me go. Look to the left, look to the right, nothing can stop me in the night, like I am leaving all the bad stuff and trying to remain so strong. I know it's good if I'm alone. I got it, I gotta go, running to better times. Go, from my emotions I'll go, running to better times, 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 to better times. Remember I was laughing in all the photos that you took, but now it looks like acting, like we were fiction in a book. Guess it's the way it goes, and I will never know why you let me go. Look to the left, look to the right, nothing can stop me in the night, like I am leaving all the bad stuff and trying to remain so strong. I know it's good if I'm alone. I got it, I gotta go, running to better times. Go, from my emotions I'll go,
Tonight is a big night. We're going to have a big week. This is the biggest week in the history of this company. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on the road to Revolution. It's Sunday on pay-per-view, and ahead of Revolution, I have a huge announcement tonight. It's something big, and I really appreciate you all being here. You know, when we started AEW 3 years ago, it was out in that parking lot. And I know a lot of you were here at the very beginning, out there, at the very beginning. Well, it was about 17 years before that, another wrestling company started, a wrestling company known as ROH, Ring of Honor. And I've been a fan of Ring of Honor for a long time, a huge fan. You can imagine I'm very excited because today I signed a deal. I just became the new owner of Ring of Honor.
Oh my God. Still a lot to take in there. You guys just joining us. We are kind of breaking into the whole announcement. Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor. And it comes back to a complete circle because, you know, the Daily's play is kind of where a lot of things begin, a lot of historical memories. But one thing that he definitely brought up that I did not play was the part that, you know, listen, he mentioned the first ever Ring of Honor match. That was Christopher Daniels and Bryan Danielson. And to see that kind of recapture last night brought back some old memories. You know, I actually watched the entirety of the match, which is very shocking, very surprising in my book. Christopher Daniels still looks like he still has it, but both of these guys, you know how classical wrestlers they are. You talk about an authentic wrestling match. That was an authentic wrestling match. And once again, we saw another, just like we saw 17 years ago, a classic wrestling match between Christopher Daniels and Bryan Danielson. We saw another one last night in these two to open. A great way to open up AEW.
I'm going to point out what a heck of a match it was. I actually really enjoyed that match. Actually, out of the entire night, that was my favorite match. I was really excited and happy that I actually got to experience those two going at it in that ring.
You know, the chills and the goosebumps I have right now whenever we started that, it's just like, it's kind of crazy that at 17 years ago at Murphy's Wreck, these two fought. And the crazy thing is, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but this was Christopher Daniels' first match in over a year in AEW since that tag team match where he lost to the Young Bucks. And so I was so happy to get a chance to see Christopher Daniels back. I was so happy. And the fact that we got a chance to see this match against Bryan Danielson, I mean, you talk about technical. This was as technical as it could be between, you know, two of, if not the best in the ring. No doubt about it. You know, you had a little bit of a Jushin Thunder Liger type of style with the technical submissions. And, of course, it was just, like, awesome. I mean, it goes to show no matter how old Christopher Daniels is, he still got it, and he proved that against Bryan Danielson. Even though he lost, it doesn't matter, though. The match was awesome. I like how it started off, you know, after the announcement with Tony Khan. Started off with the Code of Honor. I thought that was really cool. And I got to say, you know, this will probably be one of the most underrated matches of the year, in my opinion.
Underrated? I don't know. This may be well, okay, I will digress because I missed Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker last year, and that was well, hold on, because that was, according to Pro Wrestling Insider, that was the wrestling match of the year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm actually looking forward to that match this Sunday because it's been 1 year since they finally get to have a rematch against each other. And at the same venue. So, I mean, this is going to be an incredible match. This was an incredible match between Danielson and Daniels. It's hard to, it's kind of like a tongue twister because you're saying Brian and Chris. And listen, these are guys, let's face it, Christopher Daniels, kind of beyond his prime. He looks amazing for how old he is, for what he's been through, what his body's been through. I remember a lot of his days with TNA because that's what was on TV.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what type of athlete he is. I mean, both, like I said, such a classical match, and I felt like they kept it such a classical match just because they wanted to give you a taste of what the original Ring of Honor code was before and afterwards, and then to see a little bit at the very end, a little bit of AEW inside of Bryan Danielson, just annihilating, Christopher Daniels, and for me, probably a good 4.5 star match in my books. But this all honestly now takes us to a different level when it comes to looking ahead, because what's coming up the same night as WrestleMania night 1, right?
Yeah.
So
Supercard of Honor. Yeah.
Let me paint you this picture, okay? Because a lot of people don't know this. We haven't yet mentioned this. Well, not a lot of people don't know this. Everyone knows this, but we haven't really talked about this on our show. Night 1 of WrestleMania is probably the most terrible day in sports history already, because not only you got Supercard of Honor, you have WrestleMania night 1, you have Stand and Deliver, right? What else? What is going to trump all three of those things?
Probably an Impact event that no one else, and plus a lot of the GCW stuff that'll end up happening.
No, what else is going to impact night 1 of that day, that Saturday, that first Saturday of April? As a wrestling fan,
yeah,
we're probably watching this. As a sports fan, everyone's watching the Final Four.
Yeah, that is true. Oh no! Oh my gosh!
The Final Four in the March Madness NCAA basketball tournament is happening that Saturday.
Oh my gosh! Oh wow!
It's not going to be a good day.
Right. I mean, while you guys soak on that, I want to welcome in Stumpify Gaming. All right. Jake, you're getting coffin dropped when he sees you. Okay. I don't know what that means, but okay.
I can see it. So it's going, Jake! And it starts doing something stupid. I can see it.
But, I mean, just think of that. Soak that in for a moment. There's like a handful of things going on night 1 of WrestleMania. And you think about, okay, are people not going, what is going to be the most watched? I want to say, I will arguably undefinedly say everyone will stop to watch March Madness, because you can't rewatch those matches. Here's what you could do for WrestleMania. You could stop you don't have to watch WrestleMania night 1. You could watch it first thing in the morning on night 2 and get ready for the second WrestleMania.
No, that's
right. But
worse.
you got Stand and Deliver. You got Supercard Ring of. I can't watch Supercard of Ring of Honor if I'm watching WrestleMania.
Supercard of Honor.
Okay, Supercard of Honor. I can't watch Supercard of Honor if I'm watching WrestleMania. I can't watch Supercard of Honor in WrestleMania if I'm watching March Madness. I'm gonna have 3 top TVs up against me with all 3 different things going on.
So let me ask you this: if you're gonna miss night 1 of WrestleMania and watch it on night 2, you're really gonna want to sit there for 8 hours to watch WrestleMania?
I did it before. I did it back when Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky main event, because that was a solid 10 hours from start to finish. I mean, that was miserable.
Yeah. Well, I want to say this though, and here's the way I'm saying it: if Kentucky's not in the Final Four, then I'm not watching it. If Kentucky's not in the Final Four, I'm not watching it.
If you're just looking at grand scheme of things, right? I mean, NXT 2.0 is pretty interesting. It's getting ready for Stand and Deliver that same day. I'm kind of intrigued to watching it, because what they have to come to. This is the first premium live event that NXT 2.0 will have.
Not really.
That first one, but this is the first since the whole Vince McMahon recapturing 2.0 image.
Not
right?
really. I mean, War Games was that. War Games was that.
That was not Vince McMahon though.
That was
not.
Bruh, you must be smoking
Go
something,
look
because
back
that
on
was
who wrote War Games. That was not Vince McMahon.
I will do my research afterwards.
Yeah,
But
do the
either way,
research afterwards. But okay, but listen to this, because then you got WrestleMania, which I don't know. It's kind of up in the air if it's really that interesting to watch. I know in a wrestling format, it's the biggest event of the year, but yet again, are they really delivering in the matches in the standpoint? And two, and then you got, now knowing AEW is going to be, looks like they're going to be involved in Super Card of Honor, you're going to not want to miss that.
especially. Go ahead.
No, that's fine.
I'll say, especially with who the Briscoes' mystery opponent is going to be on that night as well. I mean,
well, by the
we've
way,
already got-
talking about the Briscoes, they will be facing is it Phoenix and Penta coming up on the 26th? No, on the 11th. On the 11th.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that, Joe, we already got a couple matches announced. We already got the Briscoes match announced against a mystery opponent, Alexander and Swerve, and of course, we got to talk about this. Of course, the Unification Championship match between Bandito and Jonathan Gresham. So I mean, Supercard of Honor is going to be.
But I'm just throwing it out there. Night one of WrestleMania. There's a lot of things going on. Sports fans are going to want to watch the Final Four with March Madness, because that's a big thing. And then probably WrestleMania comes second. Super Card of Honor comes third. And then Stand and Deliver comes fourth. Thank goodness there's no NASCAR that day. Thank goodness. The practice, no one's watching practice. I'm sorry.
The Xfinity race will be on night one, and then the Cup race will be on night two, no one else.
Yeah, no one cares about the Xfinity race.
I mean, is there even any good matches on WrestleMania night one that you were even interested in?
Charlotte, Ronda, probably AJ and Edge.
And maybe, Becky and Bianca's going to be on.
No, I want to say Ronda and Charlotte, because they're the first. She's the first women's Royal Rumble winner. Well, not first, but she'll highlight. So that's probably main event of night one. Then you'll probably throw Edge and AJ on there.
Because I'm sure Ray and Dominic's night one. To me, I'm not even interested in that match anymore, since Logan Paul stole Dominic's spotlight.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. What a coincidence that on Dominic's first ever WrestleMania match, he ends up taking on a celebrity, which they'll probably end up winning, and that's sad.
Probably sucks. Boo.
Can you boo? Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so we're talking about Ring of AEW last night. One other match I do want to get to, and just to point out and really talk about, is something you guys talk about in our pre-show, was MJF CM Punk. There was a lot of people. Let me put it this way. I don't know about you guys. I almost thought that for a moment, maybe you guys even bought into it. When MJF comes out and puts this statement out there, makes it heartfelt, everyone fell for him. Why did you guys fall for him? I didn't fall for him. You knew this stuff was going to happen. It's MJF. And yet again, what we saw last night on AEW, that was MJF at his finest. I mean, I don't care if it's original or it's not. It worked, and it got over. And it made you. The fun part is that you don't get a chance. MJF has the final word once again before this match. You don't get a chance to see any aggression coming from CM Punk. You may see something at Rampage, but I mean, you're not really. MJF has really gotten the final word, because the next time these two meet will be this Sunday at Revolution in a dark color match, and between now and then, CM Punk is not going to be able to get his hands or even do anything to capitalize this on MJF. So he's going in with the big advantage already. But yet again, this is going to be a CM Punk that we have probably never saw at least on television before.
And I'm really excited. I mean, obviously, I can't watch it, unfortunately, because for some reason they don't have a platform for that.
They do.
But
is it on Fight TV? Is it on Fight TV?
It's on Fight TV, and of
It's like
course,
$5 a month.
and of course on Bleach. Well, actually, it's on Bleach Report. Bleach Report is your best bet to go on to check out the AEW stuff. But
Right, but can't you watch it on Fight TV? Isn't it?
Just download the free Fight TV app, Fight app on your phone, and check everything out. They should provide you with all the updates. But Trey, continue with what you're saying, bud.
And I'm excited just to see them actually fight. I want to see CM Punk just tear up MJF for what he did yesterday. But I did buy into his shenanigans. He was really good at what he did, and it sold me, and I actually believed him. And now I'm kicking myself in the butt for actually believing, MJF was like that, and CM Punk's gonna get his hands on him, and he's gonna tear him up.
Well, the way I feel about this was that, when Punk came out, he wasn't this happy, ecstatic Punk. He came out like sad, he felt bad for MJF, and it was so incredible, so unique. The fact that it was like, hey, I feel bad for Max, and then here comes MJF coming out, and they hug, and then boom, MJF comes out, and then next thing you know, here comes Wardlow with the Dynamite diamond ring, Shawn Spears with the chair, FTR blocking security, and this has been so long since I've seen CM Punk as bloodied and busted open as he was. And my history with CM Punk and seeing him in dog collar matches is whenever these are the types of matches where you see a whole different side of CM Punk. And this Sunday, I'm telling you this, the advantage is going to go to Punk because of his experience. But the one guy I know that will get to his head is MJF, and we definitely seen it. And they definitely have hyped it up for as long as they have. So so one thing I can tell you this, viewer discretion advised for Sunday, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be brutal, and you're going to see a different side of Punk on Sunday.
All right, so we talked about Revolution being on Fight TV this Sunday.
Yeah.
There's a Sacrifice. Sacrifice is going to be on the TV, Fight TV, this Saturday.
Yes.
Is that, I believe, this subscription, and I'm going to have to look it up. Maybe I'll look it up on break. But that's only there's only a few dollars. Is that worth spending to you, Trey, whatever the cost is to watch this pay-per-view?
If I would do it if you could see every pay-per-view on there.
I mean, they got so April 1st is the Super Show with Jeff Hardy, Jeff Jarrett, Eric Bischoff. There's all that stuff going on. There's you could watch they don't have Jake, Fight TV. What do you have access to?
You pretty much have access to Ring of Honor. You have access to Impact. You have access to, I think, maybe a couple of AEW stuff. I'm not really 100%.
Do you have access to their actual weekly shows too, or
that? As far as Dark Elevation, that's usually on YouTube.
No, I'm talking about Impact and Ring of Honor. Were they on weekly? When they were on weekly, were they available through?
I'm not really sure about Impact, but I know Ring of Honor was, because they would actually posted up their daily shows every week on Fight TV. Ring of Honor would. So,
right.
And plus you would get a chance to watch all of the exclusive pay-per-views from Ring of Honor if you had their subscription service, and then it'll help you through Fight TV. So, but Bleach Report's been mostly the one that has been doing the AEW stuff. I remember whenever they first started that they had Double or Nothing on Bleach Report. Then they had Fyter Fest on Bleach Report.
Do they have a streaming service on?
Well, from what I'm being told right now is that they don't have, AEW doesn't really have a streaming service as of yet, but they are currently trying to make some deals with HBO Max to be able to provide a subscription service for AEW. So yeah,
So I just
we
wanted to
could-
share this for Trey here because I'm kind of on the webpage, and I know we do got to get to a little break, but right now this is kind of like the up to date schedule. UK wrestling. Well, no, I'm not gonna watch that. Well, okay. So they got the roundtable
Yeah.
for Fight and Focus AEW Revolution roundtable at 3 p.m. on Friday. You have Impact Wrestling Countdown to Sacrifice, which is free, by the way.
yeah. Yeah.
You also have OVW March Mayhem, which is $15 to buy. New Japan Strong Rivals Episode 1. I'm just looking to see if they Ring of Honor Wrestling, so they don't have anything for. I don't see anything for Impact.
I mean AEW.
What AEW or Impact? Well, okay, right here. 8 p.m. is $10 to watch Sacrifice.
Yeah.
So what's nice is that if you wanted to just watch specific ones,
Yeah.
you can go in and just watch specific, pay-per-views. $10 is not bad to watch it at all.
No, it's not bad, especially for as big as Sacrifice is getting with he's taking on Moose for the Impact World title, more other stuff. So I'm actually looking forward to that, especially Jay White and Alex Shelley. But back to my point about MJF and Punk. This is gonna be a bloody, incredible match between both men, and I'm hoping that after this, maybe we'll start seeing them going separate ways from one another, and we might see something that Trey and I have been talking about ever since last night. Something happening between a breakup within the Pinnacle.
Probably long overdue too. All right, let's take a quick word. We'll come back and we will continue our show. We'll talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw for you, Trey. Here, stay tuned on the Jay and Trey podcast. Alrighty, we are here on the Jay and Trey podcast, taking you guys up until noon, wrapping up the top of the first hour of our professional wrestling conversations. I'm here with my co-host Trey. I know Jake and I kind of really got a chance to talk about this yesterday. I want to break a little bit more and kind of just get your thoughts real quick on first of all the new champion Finn Balor becoming United States champion. Trey, what a pretty intense moment. Now, it was very there was a lot of parts going on to this match, and I think a part of me was like, well, Finn Balor comes out of nowhere and gets a title shot. Obviously, Damien Priest says, "Hey, I'm not opening up the challenge to anybody," but still, I mean, he just walks in and said, "Hey, I'm gonna get a title shot," and here we go. And so he wins the title. And then the stuff that happened after the match. Damien Priest has been an interesting character ever since he won the United States Championship. Does he? I don't know. I've always felt like he felt these two characters in these heel turns kind of fit better as a heel turn.
Definitely. Damien Priest played a babyface since he's been on the roster, and I don't think that was getting him over. I really enjoyed Damien Priest all the way up until they changed his music. They changed. I mean, they brought this two different sides of Damien Priest, and that match with Balor, that was a pretty awesome match, to say the least. Jake, I used your line. But after the match, Damien turned heel and it was phenomenal. I really loved his heel turn. Really beat up Finn Balor, and I think at the end of the day, I think Balor is gonna turn to the demon to take care of him.
Well, you see this other persona, that this dark side that Damien Priest has.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that the WWE has lacked of is developing their heel characters. You think of on Raw right now, who's heel? Even Austin Theory is a guy that, although you don't like him, I feel like because he's incorporating himself with Vince McMahon, because he took his butt, beaten, back at Elimination Chamber. I feel like Austin Theory is starting to get a little bit of a fan base, cheering a little bit when he comes out there, when he gets involved. So when you look at, like, for example, Raw, who's your heel? The Miz. The Miz is kind of a part-timer. Chad Gable and Otis, which isn't elevating your entity. And one of the biggest problems moving forward is, okay, you're unifying these titles. Maybe it's to bring another title in. You need to reestablish your baby faces and your heels. And right now, Edge is a part-timer. He turns heel. He'll be gone after WrestleMania again. So,
Yeah.
And then you're putting AJ Styles as a baby face. So you just haven't established that. And I really think that Damien Priest, his character, the way he looks, the way he carries himself, is definitely motivated towards a heel character. But, I feel like the attention's on Damien Priest. But, on the other side of things, Finn Balor, the only problem I had, I think I told Jake this yesterday, maybe I didn't. I'm always concerned. He's kind of like a Samoan Joe to me. I know he's incredible inside the ring, but ever since he got hurt with Seth Rollins back at SummerSlam, I want to say, 16, right? He kind of concerns me for injury prone. And so you put this title on him. Each time you give him a push, he comes back getting injured. So, and he took a nasty hit because that table did not break just because he's 185 pounds and Damien Priest did not drive him through the table. But that could have set up for a bigger injury spot than normal.
Yeah, and like you said, he's always injured, and Vince always gets heat because he doesn't push these guys that are always injury prone. And but them to put the United States Championship on him is a pretty big deal since he's always getting injured.
Yeah, now he's one title away from being a Grand Slam champion, which hopefully he can accomplish that before his end of the career. I mean, it's a definitely needed push to get him back in the picture. We definitely need to see him. But let's talk about the other big gripe in the room here. And that is, Edge has been determining to find that new opponent. I don't know why. Is he entitled just to come out there? And is he, okay, let me ask you, is he entitled to a WrestleMania match generally?
Yes.
Really?
He paid his dues.
Okay.
Over the years. He's been a big part of wrestling for quite a long time. And for him to have to retire and come back, I think he deserves everything he's getting.
Okay, I mean, my theory is that he came in, he did what he wanted to do with Edge. He had his he came in, tried for a championship, won the Rumble match again. How much time do you see Edge moving forward beyond WrestleMania? Realistically, who else do you think is in line for him? But between now, and maybe next WrestleMania.
I see maybe one more AJ Styles match.
One more, okay.
Probably at WrestleMania Backlash.
Okay.
Because that's what happened. If you go back to Edge and Seth, they had quite a bit of matches. I don't see him wrestling AJ Styles that many times.
No.
But I would do a Edge and AJ at WrestleMania Backlash, and then he finds a new opponent.
Well, I mean, the only concern I have with Edge is that he's even openly admitted that every match that he goes into takes him about a month of recovery alone before he would be able to compete again in the ring. Because I guess my other thing is too, there's not many guys on that roster that is probably almost capable, other than, like I said, I mentioned last week, Austin Theory at one point probably would be a good opponent for AJ, for Edge, sorry, at one point. But other than that, you think of this coming up WrestleMania, he's done what he's wanted to do. He's made his phenomenal, no pun intended, return, right? And I kind of want him to be able to go out his own way. But the longer he stays in, the harder it is going to be supporting him moving forward. Because there's only so much I want to. It does look that each time he comes out, it takes a chunk out of him. But yet again, he's another guy, prime example. I really enjoyed watching him as a heel turn. Okay. One of my favorite memories of SmackDown era that I watched was Edge and Vicky Guerrero, and that heel turn that he did and that run that he gave the Undertaker and all that stuff. That was my favorite time of Edge.
I love heel Edge. He's more fun to watch when he's a heel.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where this takes him. And I want to see if AJ gets back at him on Monday.
I mean, we have 4 weeks to go. I think it now sets up a perfect picture story. That was one thing I was questionable coming into this. You threw AJ, you threw Edge, a WrestleMania, possibly dream match. You're right, that people wanted to see. Well, I was like, you kind of need a little bit of background telling. Now you got 4 weeks to tell the background, and I sure hope that they tell that good story. So overall, Finn Balor becoming a United States champion, both Damien, both Edge turns heel. And it's gonna, I don't know if people are gonna graduate and start booing Edge right away, but now we're starting to see somewhat of a clearer picture for WrestleMania.
And I don't know about you, but you kept saying no, Edge, every time he's out there, it takes him a while to heal up on the match.
Yeah.
Is this the last year for Edge?
If you're asking me, I want him to go out on top, and the way I want him to go out on top is by losing to AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Losing. I say losing. Okay. I think this match would be better off for AJ Styles winning. But I've always been that person that says, hey, these guys, as you get up older in age, it's time to give back. Right? I mean, you see Taker did it for so many years. You're starting to see Goldberg do that from time to time, how he helped Bobby Lashley get over even more, how he just lost to Roman Reigns, even though he was already at the top of his game. But you saw this in Taker, how he lost to Roman, how he lost to Brock, how he helped take AJ to another level. In the short period of time, because he's only been in for 7 years, AJ Styles has done so much at wrestling, and it's just incredible to watch him. And for me, if I was writing this story, put the career up on the line.
Yeah,
Edge, you're done. You're washed up. It's gotten too far to your head. That's what I would just say. I'm just spitballing. Like you said, crazy ideas that could happen at WrestleMania. Would you tune in to night one if you know that Edge's career is on the line?
Yeah, you bet I will. Me, myself, I would love to see Edge have one more title run. Doesn't have to be a long one. It could be a short one.
If you're talking about a short one, I'm talking about he wins the title at a pay-per-view, drops it the next night.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that was his thing. He retired as World Heavyweight Champion, the one you have behind you.
Yeah.
He retired with that.
And he never lost, by the way.
And he's never lost.
Yeah.
And
I teased it last year.
I feel like he needs to win that title back, and then his career could come to an end.
Yeah.
But if he does not get another title run, this is the time.
I saw him. He teased that back last year when he won the Royal Rumble, right? I'm going to go on to Mania. I'm going to win the champion. This is the reason why I'm coming back is because I want to win that title that I never lost. And what happened? Daniel Bryan got involved, turned it into a triple threat match. I was okay with it until it happened again. Seth Rollins got involved. Every time he tried to step himself into the foot of the title run, maybe it keeps on coming to an end. As we see the approach, because I heard that there's rumors coming to, and this is the last thought before we get to break. I heard that there's rumors coming after WrestleMania. They were going to create another Raw title. Because think about this, you guys. Both Raw, both Fox and both USA Network are going to want a main title on their show.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to see those titles go back and forth, we're probably not going to see that. I think that the Universal Championship title has been underdrawn because they both look identical to each other.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to combine it again, create a brand new title for Raw, and let that happen. Or SmackDown, either or. It don't matter. But if that's the case, could you possibly see Edge, if you're talking about that title run, which I wouldn't mind. I'm just very cautious on the next steps he takes through for his remainder of his career. I don't want to see him go on too long, but do you see him maybe be that inaugural next champion on whatever brand has that title?
I would totally love so. See, what I've heard rumors that Roman Reigns would, or whoever would win, would have both titles, and they would be on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah,
and for them to get rid of a title, they need to get rid of that Universal title.
Right, it would just be the WWE champion.
Because why would you get rid of the WWE Championship? But
I agree.
Also, why would you get rid of the Universal title when Roman Reigns has busted his butt since he came back from when he left? I think it was a year ago.
Yeah.
And he made that title relevant.
Right. Well, you made the WWE Championship. Yeah. Universal. I think if you keep the Universal, the word Universal means you could be going back and forth.
Yeah.
WWE champion is the prerogatory champion of WWE.
Right.
So you need to keep the WWE championship alive. Maybe put it into the Universal Championship, or make it once again the WWE Universal Champion, and he pops back and forth. That means there won't be no title on Raw or title on SmackDown. If you do it that way, if you do it another way, put the title on Roman Reigns, let him run SmackDown. You make one title, and then you create a new title that looks completely different than the one title you have now, because both of them look identical, and it looks like crap.
Or they bring that title back. They need to bring that title back.
And by the way, this title over my left shoulder is a title that a lot of people are trying to get their hands on to keep. When I talk about keep, I mean, who is trying, Ric Flair. I think Ric Flair is trying to get this title back for himself.
Yep.
Because he's the one who brought it over. All right. Hey, listen, we got a little bit more Raw talk to come up with, including Pat McAfee and Vince McMahon being on the show together. We'll talk about that. We also have coming up here in the hour number 2 stage. So stick to us. We'll take you up till noon. Take a break here on the Jane Trey podcast.
I want to be there and baby dance the night away. I let my hair down to find one. Don't you just get tired chasing fame and being pretty all the time? Doesn't sound like fun. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. my shoes off if I want. Let yourself be free and maybe you will find that there is more to life than being pretty. Honey, let's just face it. Baby, let your head down, be a little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes up, you don't have to hide it. Baby, let your head down, be a little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes up, don't hide it. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better, I dare you to be wilder.
You guys just chilling here on a Thursday. Taking you guys up until noon. We got Impact Wrestling tonight. Just days, hours before Sacrifice, which is this Saturday night. It's going to be another big show. We'll talk about all that tomorrow in the match card and what we're looking forward to. A couple of things I would just announce. You hear about Doug Williams and Harry Smith joining the Crockett Cup?
Harry Smith and
Doug Williams, Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Wow. Doug Williams.
Join the Crockett Cup when we'll get more into that when it comes. It looks, I mean, the Briscoes are already in. I heard there's AKA rumors of because the Hardy Boys are maybe entering that cup too.
You know, that's what will draw a lot of attendance, and also
that would.
And not only do we have the Crockett Cup tournament, we also have now a special guest referee for the Nick Aldis.
Oh no! I heard about that yesterday. Listening to the Busted Open. Jeff Jarrett referees, and Jeff Jarrett says, "Hey, listen, Matt Cardona needs to be put in check. He does not represent a NWA the way it should be represented."
It'll end up being a heel turn. Jeff will end up attacking Aldis and giving Cardona retaining the championship, in my opinion.
Is he going to hit him with the guitar?
Yes, I can see that. I can definitely see that.
A breakable guitar this time?
Wait a minute. None of his guitars not been breakable?
Some of his guitars have been swapped out for real guitars that don't break. The ones that are breakable are sanded off so it can break easily. And those strings are also breakable. So there's no nut holding it. So when he brings out a real guitar, it does not break over. Take my guitar. It does not just break over someone's head easy.
All I can really tell you is the Crockett Cup tournament is going to be, the whole event is going to be awesome, to say the least.
So we have, all right, I wanted to bring this up to you, and I wanted to talk about last Monday, on Monday Night Raw, you guys. I really don't like how, listen, 2 weeks ago, not this past Monday, the previous Monday, they piped in crowd noises for Balor returning. And then the fans booing Damien Priest. Did you guys catch that, by the way?
I did not.
So the whole idea of people, Damien Priest said, "Hey, you turned the fans turned on me, right, or did not support me, right?" Mm-hmm. That all happened within like a week of time. So but then WWE decides to highlight the battle wounds of Becky Lynch after she gets whiplashed by or gets whipped by Bianca's hair. And I watched that and I saw, there was some like redness, but they photoshopped some like deep cuts that I'm like, okay, come on, you guys, really, her hair's gonna. I mean, are there box cutters in her hair that cut her? I mean, come on.
I mean, go ahead, Trey. Go ahead.
I mean, I totally understand they want to make the whips as real as possible, but they didn't have to Photoshop it.
I mean, it was like last year whenever Bianca took on Sasha Banks. I mean, that was just as real as it gets. But that right there is just like Justin said. It was all photoshopped and it was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I can't.
When you ripped Sasha last year, you could tell that was real, from the hair rips. But when Bianca did that to Becky, she beat her pretty good, but it didn't leave the mark that it did with Sasha.
No, not really. But they're trying to be able to build this up while they possibly could. So I could see why they're like, oh well, you just whipped my stomach, and look at my stomach. Look what you did. I mean, and I just don't know. It's just I understand they're trying to build this up because they have a couple weeks, but that was just kind of like kind of like an thing for me.
Right. I mean, they could have photoshopped it, but not do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, like I understand you want to try to be able to show the wounds from Becky Lynch after what happened with Bianca, but don't make it so simple and stupid. Like, no, that's gonna be a part of their little promo package for WrestleMania. You know it will.
Yeah, and
those
Photoshop scars.
Mhm.
Those are like if I beat you in the stomach with the kendo stick, not hair.
That would be like if I threw something sharp at someone and you don't really see how much of effect they have until the Photoshops will end up being like, oh, well, you just cut me so deeply. And I just I have a bone to pick with WWE. It's something I just now thought about is why don't they really hype up their own matches like they used to be? Because if you remember, every single pay-per-view, no matter what it was, Trey, they always had some sort of promo package.
Yes.
But I mean, like, where's that at? Like, I understand, like this year we've had the same matches about a couple of times, but at least like do something instead of just, oh, well, here's Madcap and Drew. Oh, here's another Madcap and Drew. Instead of trying to like hype it up, at least do something instead of being lazy with the product. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and since we're still talking about Raw, we did not get to cover the Randy Orton scare.
Yeah. So, what people are not talking about is that this past Monday it was the Street Profits taking on RK Bro and Montez Ford.
It was a pretty good match.
And it was a good match. It was a great match to say the least. I keep saying say the least, but either way, it was a great match regardless. But the problem was that Montez Ford did his little finisher off the top rope. I don't know what the move is called, but you can correct me on that. Frog Splash. Anyways, where Ford landed was he landed on Orton's shoulder that he's had issues with over the last couple of years. And looked pretty bad when the landing happened. And a lot of people were worried. Trey, I know you messaged me about it. You was pretty concerned about the situation with Orton's shoulder. But thankfully, he didn't land on it, but somewhat kind of made some sort of pressure, but Orton's good to go, especially since we have a triple threat tag team match for the Raw tag team titles this coming Monday.
No, what I was worried about is because they still are trying to plant the seeds for either Matt Riddle or Randy Orton turning against each other and having that at WrestleMania this year. And if that were to happen and Randy was injured, that storyline would obviously be nixed, and I would hate to see that because I want to see that match.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and one thing I can tell you is that I feel like we can see the heel turn coming.
Oh
But
yeah,
if you want my opinion as far as who should be the one turning heel, it's gonna have to be Randy Orton, because I think Riddle is just too much of a good guy than to put him as a heel. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, go ahead.
Now is that just a thing on TV and he could like flip a switch and beat the holy crap out of Randy?
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see a Matt Riddle heel turn.
I do. I would love to see Riddle being as heel as the next person. But in my eyes, and for as long as I've seen Riddle, even before WWE, he's always known as this good guy. He's always known as the bro that he is. So if you want my opinion, especially with how much I've seen between both Riddle and Orton, you got to really give it to Orton. You got to give it to Orton because Orton's more of a heel, especially whenever he had his legend killer character that he had about a couple of years ago. So
Yeah.
it would make sense for Orton to be the one doing the heel, because in the fact that at the time Orton was the heel until Riddle turned things around. So if it wasn't for Riddle, Orton would still be a heel today, if you think about it. So,
and I really think it's planting the seeds for this coming Monday.
yeah, obviously the fact, but the one thing I find it weird was like, Joe, if you had a triple threat match, you would want your competitors to get involved with one another. We've seen that with Alpha Academy and of course Rollins and Kevin Owens, but we didn't really see anything with RK Bro because they had the Street Profits that night. But
Yeah.
I will tell you this though, and I've not been excited for a Raw Tag Team title match in quite some time. But from what I saw this past Monday is that you can expect a really good triple threat tag team match, because you got the guys who have been in the company longer, and then you got guys who have pretty much been with the company for the past couple of years, and at least have their breakaway. I'm talking about guys like with Orton and Rollins and Owens. Then you got Riddle and Alpha Academy, who are still trying to get used to this type of stuff, So in my opinion, it's just that you have to be able to build Alpha Academy to be the seal. And as much as I say, I think Alpha Academy will end up retaining on Monday.
I would love to see them retain and move on to WrestleMania, because this will be, I think, would be the very first WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, and it will be.
Yeah, and that would be totally awesome. Well deserved. And I would have loved to see what Otis and Tucker had that WrestleMania moment, but they never did.
No.
And for him to be with Chad Gable, that would be a great time to finally have the WrestleMania moment.
But if you think about this though, and I want to get to Otis real quick. Is that Otis? We saw him with Heavy Machinery. We saw what he did. And of course he's doing the worm or whatever the movie was called.
Yep.
It was more like a Jigglypuff version of the worm. But nevertheless, is that you have Otis, and that you made him cut his hair, you made him have this different look, and now that Tucker was released, now you can be able to build something up and have him be a part of Alpha Academy. I've seen Chad Gable, and I will tell you this: Chad Gable's not been getting much credit where he's done. He's been with Jason Jordan, and I forgot what you can correct me on the name, but anyways, he went with Jason Jordan, then went to Robert Roode, and then now look at where he's at. He was trying to do some single stuff for quite some time, and they said, here's Otis. You guys have been working together, and we want you to be this big tag team.
Chad Gable went from Jason Jordan down to NXT. Then he went to Shelton Benjamin when he returned. Then he went to Robert Roode, and then he went to his single competition. Listen, you know what I love so much about Chad Gable?
What's up?
He reminds me of a young version of Kurt Angle.
Yeah,
he's willing to put himself out. He is an actual collegiate wrestler. Now, he never made it to the Olympics, but he knows what he's doing, and he's a great character, and he really is willing to put himself out there, like what Kurt Angle used to do on these weekly segments, right? And he's made it work. For me, I'm supportive of Chad Gable and his character. I don't want it to change. And I sure hope that's the character that he is beyond Otis, because that's what's going to get him over. Now, the only thing I wish Chad Gable does, he needs to be competing against guys like Finn Balor. He has really good in-ring ability. And we don't get to see that because he's teamed up with Otis, and the spotlight's on Otis.
No.
And, I mean, Otis is a great guy, too. And it was hard to see Otis move on. I don't think I'm going to ever see Otis as a single competitor, because it didn't work out the same. And then you talk about Randy Orton turning heel.
Yeah. Okay,
Randy Orton is the only person out of him and Matt Riddle that knows how to turn heel. And if you're going to put someone over, you're going to put Matt, it works. You're going to put Matt Riddle as a babyface. He's been this babyface. It's been a year to build up. Randy Orton knows how to play that Viper. He could switch it on just like that, like a light switch. And I could see him. I'd much rather see him turn heel. It's almost like it's the opposite to like when Dominic turns heel. Dominic, though, needs to turn heel to turn against his father. But I don't know if they're willing to ever do that. When we play next Friday, by the way, well, not next Friday because it'll take time to download. Next Saturday, we will get a chance to actually play Dominic versus Rey Mysterio on the WWE 2K22 game.
I will personally play that game next Friday, and I'm so excited for it.
But you can't do that until after this show, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
But unfortunately for y'all, while y'all get a chance to play, I have to wait for about a good couple of weeks because I still got bills I got to pay. So
I know you still have to send me a Christmas present.
Yeah. Which I have. Yeah, one of your gifts is actually up on my wall behind me.
Oh
so
no.
yeah.
Oh no.
And
yeah,
Jake,
you've been talking about that since like November.
And guess what, Jake? It's March. Christmas was 3 months ago.
Hey Trey, I know that I've been kind of busy.
And then my birthday's next month, so I mean, you kind of have to be able to balance that out. Maybe 2 for 1. All right, let's take a quick break. We got to talk about what's going to happen. Actually, you know what? Let's take a break. We're going to change directions, you guys. You guys are, I'll explain more about this later, but I want to get your authentic reaction as a brand new, I will consider you guys as rookies when it comes out of baseball fans.
Yeah.
But I really want to get your initial reactions and your thoughts on what was done over this past day as new baseball fans. So we'll do all that here in just about 2.5 minutes, let's say. All right?
Yep.
I'm around 10 feet on the ground. I'm floating around 10 feet on the ground. I know you like it. I think I like it too. Yeah, I know you like it more than you ever wanted I am no average Joe.
All right. Last half an hour of our show. So, yeah, I went on this little rant yesterday morning because MLB has decided that they're going to be canceling games. And for a moment, I was looking a little excited, trying to stay optimistic about things that went on. But on this show, on our show, Trey, not 5 months ago. Only thing that you really know was Raw and SmackDown.
Yep.
Okay. Jake, when you joined us, you knew a lot more about AEW, Ring of Honor, and Impact Wrestling than you did WWE.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. As we progressed, we talked about NFL. As we progressed, Jake, you got Trey and I to talk about and to follow and be invested in NASCAR.
Yes, sir.
Jake, Trey and I got you to follow and get involved with NWF. And so we kind of share this cloud of bringing things in. And something that comes up this every spring and summertime and after March Madness. And by all means, we all three of us could say we're not basketball fans. We'll follow it here and there. But we're not real basketball fans. So we follow. So now, Jake, since you got us into NASCAR, Trey, I would say you got us into NWF wrestling. I think it's also my turn to try to get you guys into Major League Baseball. Is there a reason why you guys don't necessarily follow that much baseball?
To me, it's just something that I really didn't pay attention to because I was so focused on WWE and the Bengals.
Okay.
Just something that I was never. None of my family ever watched sports, right?
Okay.
The only one that did was my grandpa that is no longer with us. My mom, my stepdad, my dad, nobody watched sports ever. And I was the one out of everyone that watched the Bengals. And I actually got my grandma and grandpa to watch the whole Bengals season this year. And I was shocked about that. And yeah, every once in a while I got to go see the Florence Yards game. Obviously, when I'm there, I know what's going on out there on the field. But there's some things that I'm really not don't know. But
Right.
actually, I'm actually excited to actually watch baseball this year to see how invested I will be into.
Now, Jake, I can understand you don't necessarily have a baseball team. You don't have any team out there in your area when it comes out of professional league here. I mean, you could probably create a backyard team, but that's all you had to do. So,
we're Trey calls it BFE, which, by the way, a lot of people think that's funny after I told him that there, Trey. But yeah, we pretty much don't have no teams. I mean, the closest team I really root for is the Boston Red Sox, which they're my favorite baseball team.
And that's strange considering that you're a Steelers fan and you wear a pirate shirt all the time.
It's Roberto Clemente. It's Roberto Clemente
I
we're
don't
talking
care.
about here.
Listen, I don't care who it is. You wear a pirate shirt, and yet again, you root for the Red Sox. So
That's because
here's the thing. Here's the reason why I bring it up is because, right about now, there will be spring training games. Baseball will be playing in Arizona, down in Florida. You would have games going on during the day, games going on during the night. We would be getting ready for teams to be playing the first regular season game March 31st. That is the initial game start of the season. But before we got to that, we had to get through what was called a collective bargaining agreement. And that's basically basically the players are a union. They work together, and then you have the owners. They have to come together and meet an agreement. Whether it's the determination on the field of play, whether it's the amount of shifts, whether there's a designated hitter or no designated hitter, whether it's the draft, when the people get drafted, pre-arbitration. When I say about that, there's more financial talks that go into it. How much people should get paid? Should there be a salary cap where no one can get paid higher than this amount of money? No one should get paid lower than this amount of money, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, December 2nd was that date where the MLB, remember, I want you guys to know, Major League Baseball owners have decided to lock out the players from playing the season. Players want to play, but they are being locked out from being able to play since this December 2nd. No one decided to talk to each other until the middle of January, about 43, 46 days later. And it was a snail's race to throw out a proposal on what we want, what they want, given come up to the agreement. Last week, as stories break, as we head closer to the spring training, they've already canceled spring training games. And what they've done is that this last week, they finally met all week long. They met 16 hours consecutively on Monday, but they could not come up to an agreement on Tuesday, which has caused Rob Manfred, the chairman, like Roger Goodell, to cancel at least the first 2 weeks of baseball. And what this does as a new fan, like Trey, Jake, at least I'm going to consider you guys new fans for now, this puts a bad image on you guys as a fan. Why would I want to watch a sport that can't even get their shit together? Let's be honest, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it sucks. It hurts. And it's things like, and it's the fact that they can't come together and put on a season. I mean, we just got to seeing an incredible Super Bowl run with the Rams and Bengals, correct? It was phenomenal. I think it was probably one of the greatest Super Bowls in my lifetime. I say my lifetime, okay? And I've also got a chance to, and then we also, March Madness is here. The pandemic is surprisingly dying down. I'm not going to get into that, but you got March Madness is going to be here this week, coming up at the end of this week. So you got, basketball, and I know it's going to be jam-packed with fans. So that's going to be a bonus hit. So off of everything that's going good the last couple of years, why can't baseball get on the same page? And Trey, take it one step further. We start looking into like the Red season, Cincinnati history, the significance. They play their first game of the season. Cincinnati always plays their first game of the season at home because they are the first Major League Baseball team organization ever in history. Really? Okay, so they get that privilege to play every home game, every first game of the season, opening day, at home. This year is supposed to be against the Chicago Cubs. Right now, where they have it at, they will be playing on the road against Atlanta Braves on the 7th of April, if they could hold up to that. They don't cancel out any more games. So my point is that that's already a bad image because this is how big baseball is in Cincinnati, guys. It's they have a national holiday on opening day where they have a parade for baseball players. You don't see that you only see that in World Series championships and maybe the All-Star games. a city alone designates a national holiday for the Reds team. You think about how good the Bengals have played last season. You look at all of these college teams like Kentucky, Xavier, Cincinnati, all going to be in the tournament this year, right? You look about the amount. You look at the Reds over the last 2 years. Back in 2020, they made it to the playoffs. Okay, it was a shortened season, but they made it. Back in last year, they contended up into the week of the playoffs. They made it to the last week, and then they fell short by a couple of games. So in Cincinnati alone, considering that there's nothing else to do around here besides maybe Kings Island, the zoo, you have Newport Aquarium, you know, and there's really nothing else, right? Let's face it, coming out here to do. We're almost just like you, Jake, but you know, we live closer together, and it puts a negative image when you want to get excited for something and you can't. Well, the Florence Y'alls are a team organization that they will start a season. They will have their season start on time. But it's not the same. They're going down to the Great American Ballpark, walking through that tunnel, looking out over the concourse onto the field, seeing that boat in the background, going up to the top, looking out over to the riverfront. I mean, it's such an incredible sight. It's the moments that you get, not the entertainment of the sport. It's the moment that you go out there. Trey, you tell me all the time this last couple of weeks, you love the weather.
Yeah.
You love the warmth. You love being out there, correct?
Yeah,
and
I love it.
This is being able to go out there, 80-degree weather, enjoy the crowd, enjoy the atmosphere, smell the fresh cut grass, smell the beer stains on the concourse, smell the hot dogs being grilled on the grills. Right? You got to smell that skyline because they got skyline chili at the ballparks. You know what I'm saying? You get to enjoy just the atmosphere of just sitting down, talking to people. Like this weekend, we're going to go out watching some airplanes. Same thing, but we're going to watch some Reds play. We don't get that right now because Rob Manfred decides that he wants to cancel games because the owners, you got to think about this. They talk about it, a millionaire versus billionaire game when it comes down to this. There's 30 MLB owners and there's over 1,200 MLB players that have to come to an agreement with the proposal. And it's not about, you know, these guys make hundreds and thousands of dollars a year. It's not about the dollar amount. It's about the fact that the owners, if you allow the owners to say, get what they want, as they collect money, they're not giving it back to the players. And we don't go to ball games. Trey, you don't go to a Florence Roll game. Trey, you don't go to NWF to go watch Roger Ruffin.
No.
And no disrespect to Roger, I love the guy. But you don't go to the NWF to watch Roger. You go in there to watch the great King Tyan. You go there to watch Juice. You go there to watch Rex, Sean Evans, Ella, you know.
Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood. I'm there to see everybody.
You don't go there just to watch Roger Ruffin. It's like going to NWF, sit in the back row, turn your chair around, and watch Roger Ruffin, whatever he's doing. We don't go to ball games to watch the owners sit up there in their press conference talking to each other, right? You guys don't go to, you don't go to a football game to watch the owners of the Steelers or the Bengals, right? You go to watch Joe Burrow. You go to watch, Jamar Chase. Right.
I'm there to see. Ultimately, I'm there to see the Bengals win a game.
Right, but the owners don't win the game for you. The Bengals win the game for you, right?
Right.
So, don't you believe that maybe the players should be given more incentive to go out there and play the game?
Yeah.
I tell you guys.
If I'm going to go to a Reds game, I'm there to see a home run. I'm there to see a grand slam. I'm there to see the players, not no managers or whatever they are.
Right.
Let's
You're gonna
get
go
this
there
game on
to
the.
watch. You're gonna go there to watch players hit the ball. You're gonna go watch players run the bases. You're gonna go watch pitchers pitch the ball, and you're gonna see. You're there to have a good time. You
Yeah.
want to see those fireworks at the end of the game that the Reds are notorious about doing each and every time. And it's difficult as a fan like me to sit there and try to bring in image. You talk about the WWE. If you are a new person that's never been introduced to wrestling before, go watch WWE. You ain't gonna want to. You ain't gonna be a wrestling fan. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. I'm trying to get my 7-year-old into wrestling. It's hard to, because it's nothing. There's not entertaining. It's not entertaining enough for viewing. Now, all I say is AEW is a little rated R at sometimes, and that's fine. I'm okay with it because I've been a wrestling fan for quite some time. I know what to go on. But if I can't go take my 7-year-old to, it's like the same reason why I'm not taking my 7-year-old to Ludlow.
Yeah.
You got to graduate into it, and WWE's not there. They're not even at the point where you could graduate to. They're below that pack, to be honest. But it's the same thing like baseball. You're a new fan trying to do this, and they shut the players out. So there's no spring training games right now. There's no season as of right now. We don't know when the season initially is going to start, because there has to be spring training for people to play and to practice and to get suited up. There has to be I mean, there has to be so many days before you can start spring training, because most of these guys are in different parts of the world. And it's the longer this happens, the longer they wait, the harder it's going to be, because a lot of these guys are, they're going to have to get visas. And it's like, well, with everything that's going on in the other side of the country, it's going to be harder and harder to get people to come over here. Right.
And with this lockdown, this lockdown is not making me want to watch baseball.
No. I mean, just think about the younger kids also. You think about the young youth programs that want to go play. They're here to go see Jonathan India. They're here to go see Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. We don't know when the last time Joey Votto is going to be at the plate swinging the bat. This could be the very last time, and this guy's being cheated out on a complete season. And you think about how close the Reds were last year. And, I mean, since this lockdown, which means the GMs who would normally make deals and trades and acquisitions and free agent signings, right? They can't do anything. They can't talk to anybody. They can't negotiate with any owners. And they can't talk to the players. And the players can't talk to the old franchise. So if Jonathan India sprained his ankle, we won't know about that. He would have to go see his own doctor. He can't go to the ball club and say, hey, take care of me. So we don't know the status of some of these players. We don't know what's going to happen. And think of guys, just here's baseball perspective. Nick Castellanos is a free agent. He's probably one of the most instrumental reasons why the Reds got to where they were at. What are you going to do now, especially with the designated hitter? Who do you have with the power bats? You got to go sign some free agents. You need some extra pitching, some extra depth in the bullpen, and you can't make those deals now because they're still on a lockdown. And it's going to be one big cluster, when they do lift this, because a lot of not only people trying to get out to spring training, you're trying to find out what team you're going to be on this year. It's frustrating, and I want to share you some of the frustration that I'm dealing with, because I've been on top of this, and it really provides gray hairs in places you just don't want to get gray hairs. I mean, you're making, because it gets you emotionally and physically and mentally drained of the sport, which sucks.
Right, and it just sucks because I'm really wanting to watch a Reds game.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've been to Reds games.
Yeah.
But
it's also key for our sport, for our show, and knowing the direction that we're talking about to be able to talk about this. We can't talk about it if there's nothing going on.
Right. What
So-
we gonna do? Are we gonna start covering Florence Y'all's games?
Oh gosh. Well, you're like these Florence Rolls, they're not meant to be covered. They're meant to just be because they change so often. Right? These guys are not meant to stay.
Right.
All right. Pat McAfee is having a show today, and comes up right after our show. And Vince McMahon will be on his show. And there's been some controversy about what's going on. We're going to get our thoughts, our takes, and our initiations as we finish off the show here after this quick word. All right. So Trey, Jake, you have you think you have a guest on today?
Yeah, 5
Savannah?
o'clock. It's Savannah Graham is going to be joining me. We'll get a chance to talk about her. She's got 2 fights this month. And of course, I think the main one that we're going to
2 fights this month.
Yeah, she's got 2 fights. One come up on the 19th.
Where does she?
and
Where does she fight at? Like,
she
Fight
she,
for.
she so she pretty much fights either striking 1-on-1 in New York, but yet she's going to be fighting. The first fight is for a chance to win a trip to Thailand, and the second trip, the same card that Sandra Art's going to be on with the Flex Fight Series on March 26th. She'll be competing for a title on that night as well. So we'll get a chance to talk to her.
good luck.
By the way, I definitely do want to send a shout out to Serena De Jesus that joined me. She really liked your comments, by the way, Justin, and she find it funny after I told her what Trey would tell me where I'm from, and she was dying laughing. So, and we got more stuff coming your way after this week. So,
well, and then you guys could also join us tomorrow because Kate Clemens will be on our show. Thanks to the Finding Out host Jake. All right, you were talking about guests being on shows. Pat McAfee is notorious to having guests. I think when you think of Pat McAfee, you think of guests. You kind of think of Aaron Rodgers because it seems like every time Aaron Rodgers is on a host on the show, he's on the Pat McAfee show. And Pat McAfee's just growing, and I think this is awesome. Just the fact because Pat McAfee does not talk a lot about wrestling on his show. He talks a lot about sports conversation, right? Football, baseball, basketball, whatever sports going on in the world. He talks about it. And then he goes, and I'm always wondering, like tomorrow, for example, he does his show, looks like from a studio. And then how does he get to Friday Night SmackDown within hours from when he gets done with that? I mean, he must have a jet ready to go as soon as he's done. You know what I'm saying?
It's probably his own like little helicopter to take him to where he is.
I'm telling you, because whatever it is, it's just it's incredible to see him on the show. He gets done like around 4:00, and then he has to be at SmackDown ready to go that same night with Michael Cole. But so Pat McAfee is going to have close as we get ready to WrestleMania. Pat McAfee will have Vince McMahon on his program talking about getting ready, promoting WrestleMania. Vince McMahon doesn't come out to do interviews quite often. He's probably one of the most one of the most terrible guys on interview programs. He likes just to stay behind the scenes, do the business, but he will be on Pat McAfee's show today. There's a lot of speculations going on, but there's also things that he hasn't. I heard that he has an announcement for today on the Pat McAfee show. Is that it cannot stand water.
I wonder what that announcement is.
Probably after when Austin Theory comes in there and attacks McAfee, maybe because
So I know that there's rumors and speculations about Pat McAfee and Vince
Mhm.
McMahon in the ring. And then those speculations, oh, the 77-year-old man ain't gonna end up being in the ring, because he's gonna break a hip. So you have just like what Scott Hall did, right? Yes, what I
Mhm.
broke yesterday. But so we took in some ideas around. So what was that one idea? Pat McAfee and Vince McMahon, right?
Yeah.
That was one idea. The second idea is Austin Theory and Pat McAfee, which I wouldn't be trouble seeing either of them. But I have one more theory, and this is far from probably what's going to happen, but I can see this theory happening. Can you what would we do to see? What would we do to see maybe an Austin Theory in Vince McMahon?
Oh.
You think about a guy. Hold on. I mean, I'm just proposing. Apparently, I'm great at this because I'm just proposing the idea of. I understand why Austin Theory and Pat McAfee will work in the ring. Pat McAfee has history in the ring, but if you're looking to get Austin Theory over and pushed, I mean, wouldn't Vince McMahon, Austin Theory, I could, that's a match that you could see happening still. If you're telling me Pat McAfee and Vince McMahon is on the table for WrestleMania, you have to give me Austin Theory and Vince McMahon also on the table. Yes, that would mean Austin Theory would have to go against Vince McMahon, and I don't know if that's willing to happen quite yet. But you're looking about a guy, and I talked about getting a guy over like on Austin Theory. This is a way to do it. I talked about Austin Theory, maybe Edge last week, but Austin Theory and Vince McMahon would honestly be interesting. In my eyes, looks like Drake, you're shaking your head no.
No, because the reason why I don't see it is because yes, Vince and Austin have been building something up for the last couple months. I just don't really see it that way. I just don't. Your best example. You have this little crystal ball because all your predictions have been right. You was right about last night, but the thing is though, I just don't see you being right about Theory and Vince McMahon. It's most likely gonna be McAfee and Theory. Because it's been about a year or so since McAfee wrestled in that War Games match. But however, he does have a little bit of experience, and I wouldn't mind seeing McAfee in Theory because at least you have an Austin Theory on a WrestleMania card. Is it bad to have McAfee as a wrestler on a WrestleMania card? Maybe, but the one thing I can tell you is that I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind seeing McAfee get a chance to have a WrestleMania moment for himself. Sure.
Now I want to see that match. I'm actually excited to hear that match possibly happen with Austin Theory and Vince McMahon. No, because they've been working together for quite a few months, and I think that would be more entertaining than seeing Austin Theory and Pat McAfee. I've never seen Pat McAfee wrestle, but
I'm not saying that this is going to go down. I mean, it does look towards Austin Theory and Pat McAfee, and that does make sense. You keep two guys who could do stuff in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about Texas. Austin Theory and Vince McMahon. What happens if before the match, Stone Cold Steve Austin, not even Stone Cold, let's say Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin replaces Vince McMahon and faces Theory. Because right now, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens is tied up in a tag team match. And what else do you have for Seth Rollins at Mania? Nothing. So wouldn't you probably see Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens as a tag team at Mania just to have those matches in? You think about putting in, you can still see JBL, Booker T, Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley. Maybe Vince McMahon, Austin Theory throws that scenario in, right? But here's my question to you then. If you put McAfee in the ring with Vince McMahon, Austin Theory, what does that mean for him commentating beyond WrestleMania? Because now it's just going to be awkward watching McAfee knowing that he just got done wrestling the Boss or getting into a feud with the Boss. and he's granted to commentate with Michael Cole on SmackDown.
It would. I mean, I wouldn't say it'd be really awkward. Nonetheless,
It'll be a little awkward.
I mean, it wouldn't be really awkward considering the fact that we did see Jerry King Lawler fight Michael Cole at WrestleMania 27.
Yeah, but that was also a feud that was built up though for like a year.
But the thing is though is that McAfee can still get the job done, especially for
What
the next
feud?
night.
I know, but what feud do you have? What storyline are you telling me with Pat McAfee in the ring with Vince McMahon or Austin Theory? You really think I've never seen Pat McAfee as a hostile person like that? Pat McAfee's going to have to play that heel unless unless Austin Theory comes in and picks a fight.
That's exactly what we'll probably end up seeing today in McAfee's show. Is that because in the segment, Theory's like, hey,
but then wouldn't Vince McMahon be pissed off because he did not want Theory at the interview?
Yeah.
So couldn't that also lead to something where Vince McMahon says, "Hey, Austin Theory, you're going against my word." Austin Theory maybe says, "Hey, I should overthrown you." I don't know. I don't know what the storyline means. I'm just throwing it out there because it would, to me, after seeing McAfee in the ring against the chairman, or at least involved with the chairman, it's going to be a little difficult to see him on SmackDown, and I don't want him to leave. I mean, he's a great guy.
I mean. Go ahead.
And like you said, what if Austin Theory faces Stone Cold Steve Austin? Would you rather him get beat up by Stone Cold and lose, or would you rather him have a match that Austin Theory will actually win? 'Cause I don't see Austin Theory getting past Stone Cold.
No.
No,
But
not think anybody will.
But no, I mean, would you rather see Stone Cold and Kevin Owens, where you want Kevin Owens to get offense in? Or would you rather see Stone Cold come out, even if it's not Stone Cold, to have Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, maybe even The Undertaker come out in Tombstone or Last Ride Austin Theory? Lights go out, lights goes on, Taker's in the ring, Tombstone's the hell out of him, and then from there. What do you like, Trey?
I would, what you said, tombstoning the hell out of Austin Theory.
Yes. I'm talking about so hard that he jumps up and does what like a rock fall. I mean, when Rock took a Stone Cold Stunner. I mean,
oh my gosh!
I'm just throwing it out there, you guys.
The selling.
Let's do it.
I would love to see Theory's face whenever he stares right through the Undertaker, and the Undertaker's like,
and that would be great content to see, though, right? Besides throwing in Pat McAfee, who I know he could handle in the ring, but probably shouldn't be in the ring, and Vince McMahon, who probably doesn't belong in the ring whatsoever.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. We'll definitely see.
All right, you guys. Well, Pat McAfee's show up on YouTube. Go check that out right now. We'll find out. We will come to you tomorrow as well, breaking the news. What's the news with Vince McMahon being all about Pat McAfee show? But that is all the time we have for you guys today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Go check out later on today, Jake with Savannah Grimm.
5 o'clock Eastern time.
5 o'clock on the Fighting Now Network. Until tomorrow, you guys, this is on behalf of Jake, Trey, and I. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys later.
Peace.